In this demonstration, we're going to learn how to build a template based on components that exist already pre-prepared for us, paying attention to our left and right prefixes, as well as redefining some parametric constraints. To get started, we're going to assume that you have made a copy of the master template library into your project folder, and I'm going to do a right click at the top and make a new folder. I'll just call this my project. And then under here, I'm going to make a new template. I'm just going to call it Urban. And at this point, I want to go ahead and open up my dynamic settings dialog and make sure that apply fixes is not on for placing in my pavement. And I'm going to set my step increment to 0.2 and 0.1 and use the tab key to accept those values. And if you're in the X and slope mode, you can just click here and change that. And so this will make us snap to our grid. So the first thing we want to do is place some pavement. So I'm going to go underneath our components, pavements, and we're going to do pavement only, concrete, 2 lanes, ag base. And I simply drag this out and put that at the coordinates of 0, 0. Now if I accidentally miss 0, 0 in this example, I simply right click and check change template origin and then pick on my point and that moves it, and now we're at 0, 0. So now we have our pavement selected and chosen and placed. The next thing now we want to do is turn on affixes, because now we're going to add the curb and gutter, and we want the LT underscore and RT underscore because we need to have unique point names. So I'm going to navigate over to my curb and gutter, and I'm going to select type A with ag base, and again we're going to drag. Now while holding down my mouse on my left mouse key, I'm going to do a right click, release my left mouse, and then use my left mouse to select mirror. And in the bottom right corner of the template editor, you'll see the word mirror now become bolded. Or you can also hold down your control key and press the letter M as you're dragging. So we're going to turn on mirror, and what this does is allows us to place the left and right side at the same time. And we need to make sure that we hover over the right edge of pavement until it bolds or highlights, so that we know that those points will auto merge. And then we left click accept, and then we do a fit view. Now at this point the point names are becoming rather busy, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off my display point names. And if I hold down my shift key and roll my wheel mouse, I can stretch or shrink vertically. If I hold down my control key and wheel mouse, I can stretch and shrink horizontally. I'm going to do a quick test here, so I'm going to right click on my edge of pavement point and select test point control, and I'm going to select test vertical point. And as I move, I should see my gutter pan transition in high side super, and I should see my base follow accordingly. And so you'll see all that looks really good. So I'll right click to cancel. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to be able to establish a sidewalk on the left side and just a regular closing slope on the right side. So the first thing I want to do is establish that sidewalk on the left side. So I'm going to slide down. Underneath my components, I have a folder called sidewalk, and I want the one that has both the inner and the outer buffer. And so I'm going to drag this over, and notice that I still have my mirror on, but I said I only wanted sidewalk on the left side. So while I'm still holding down my left mouse button, I'm going to right click and turn off mirror with my left mouse click now. The other problem I have is that my insertion point is backwards, and so I'm going to, before I do a left click to accept the location, I'm going to first do a right click, and now I'm going to turn on reflect. And so now I'm orientated properly, and I'm going to wheel in to this back of curb location. Make sure that they're bolded so I'll get the auto merge. Also verify my apply fixes is on before I accept, and then I'm going to accept that location and then do a fit view. So now I have my sidewalk on the left with a berm on both sides of the sidewalk, and I'm ready to place my slope. To do this, I'm going to navigate to my end conditions, and I'm going to select under combined my 4-to-1 tie, and I can drag from here or I can drag from here, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to place this on the left side, but not using mirror and reflect. I don't want to use mirror because on the right side it's in a different location. So I'm just going to place the left side with my reflect option. We release that and do a fit view. Now I want to do the right side as well. However, on the right side, I want to maintain the buffer behind the curb and gutter before I place my cut and fill slope. And so I'm going to go back to my sidewalk, and we'll just use this one, just a little bit easier. Again, I'm going to drag this over, right click, turn off reflect now, and I'm going to go ahead and place it like I was putting a sidewalk in. Let those merge. Now I'm going to do a right click and select delete components and just drag over the area that I want to delete. And notice how that deleted everything. So I'm going to do an undo. And what happens is we have a parent-child relationship. And so if I look at this particular entity, notice how it has a parent component for the sidewalk. I'm going to set that parent component to none and apply that. And so now when I delete components, you'll see that I have maintained my buffer on the right side. So we'll do a fit view. Now we can come back to our fill condition, which is our 4-to-1 tie. And I'm going to drag that back to the end of my buffer. And notice how I didn't get that just right. And so I could do an undo and drag it again, or I can also right click and select move point, put it onto there. But the problem with that is it won't auto merge now. And so I just right click merge points, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the extra point that it added in, which is here. And so now when I do a fit view, I have my combination created for what I wanted, and I can test this now. And so in the tester, I can hit draw to draw my active surface, and you can see now that I have my end condition closing properly. So let's close our tester. The last thing I want to do is I want to check our left and right parametric constraints. So we'll go back to active template here and expand our parametric constraints. And notice, for example, we have ditch back slope 1 slope minus ditch back slope 1 slope. Well, let's say, for example, I wanted those to be different on the left versus the right. And right now they can't because they have the same name with a negative sign. So what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to edit the name, putting in the same prefix on the parametric constraint. So instead of a negative, I'll do LT underscore for that one as well. And so now I can have a different back slope controlled with parametric constraints on the left side versus the right side. And you would want to continue that same philosophy through the rest of your parametric constraint names. Once your parametric constraints are edited, make sure that you save your work, as everything that we've done is done in computer memory. And so in order to maintain your particular new template, you want to make sure and save that before you exit out.